Today I taught quite a bit about how to do the best possible instruction for every single student. So what we worked through is a framework that's based called visible learning from a researcher called John Hattie. And so it's really about making sure that the students and the teacher know exactly where they're at in their learning process, where they need to be going, and how they're going to get there. I've spent a lot of time with a lot of different research on education, and a lot of it is really good. And when Hattie's research came out, which was a number of years ago, but it was really one of the first times that I've seen all the different research that's out there kind of come together in one project or one analysis that we can really kind of focus down on what really works in education. And it's really been powerful in changing and improving what we do. Some of the techniques include formative assessment. And what formative assessment is assessing your students during the learning process and not taking a grade or a mark for it, but making sure that they know the results of it and you know the results of it, and you can adjust the instruction based on the results of the assessment. Other techniques would be making sure students do have some choice and voice in what they're learning and how they express their learning. What we found is that students who have choice in their learning really succeed better, especially when you pull that back into the assessment after they know where they're at in their learning process. Whenever the techniques that I use in class today, whenever I do any sort of training for teachers, I like to model what I'm teaching them about as if they were students, so they can feel what it's like to be a student with the techniques. So one of the things that we did is I did a formative assessment based on visible learning to see kind of what they knew right at the beginning of the process. We got the results, and I had them do their own personal growth plan on how they can actually learn more themselves about the visible learning. And so that way they could see what it's like for a student to make their own growth plan, and they were able to figure out what their goals were in their learning, how are they going to get there, and then what the assessment they're going to use. And they had some choice and voice in that process. They were fantastic. They were so eager to learn, and we kept them here for a long time today during our workshop. And there wasn't one time in which they weren't engaged, smiling, and really what's most important was discussing with each other and trying to figure out, what they can do to be better, and then sharing their ideas with us, and then just really a collaborative atmosphere in which we can all be better instructors and teachers. I was able to meet with a lot of remaining educators this week, and the needs that were expressed from them, I think, was really just for them to be empowered in the education process. And so we worked on ways in which they could do that themselves, but I think there's also some things that will probably need to happen so that they can be empowered and work collaboratively together, and that includes with leaders, with students, with parents, with the community to really improve education. The impact that Aspire can have is going to be really powerful. If we go back to John Hattie's research, professional development does really have a positive effect on learning. So anytime teachers can get together and they can talk about what their experiences are, what they're doing that works, and share their good instructional strategies with each other, we're going to see really, really positive change in students.